Hello, and welcome to the next famous round of Beer Thursday. I am your host, Shayne, and
Oh, I am Jay.
your other host, extraordinaire.
Well, I would
So, for today's round of the Beer Thursdays, I thought we'd hop right to it without the usual ramifications. That's not the right word. So, this is a topic that I want to spring on you, Jay, without any preparations.
I'm ready.
And then maybe in a few weeks, we'll revisit it after you've had time to think it over.
Okay.
So last week we had a pretty serious conversation about the COVID. So I thought we would continue with our seriousness.
Oh, nice. What's that you're drinking there, Shane?
I got a Stella. I don't know if it's Stella Artios. I always call it Stella Artois because it's from Belgium, and I assumed it's French and would be Artois. Stella
Yeah,
Artois.
Yeah, I thought it was Stella Artois as well. But what do I know?
I've always enjoyed it in the bottles and on the taps from the bars. So when I was ordering my groceries from the Kroger's the other day and knew that this said Beer Thursday was coming up, I went for the cans of the Stella. And you can't see this on the podcast, dear fans, but Jay can see it on our Skype call. It's these nice little thin wimpy cans.
Well, so
Nice.
I guess it leads me to ask you, Shane, how do you like it in the can?
So what I thought we would talk about on the Beer Thursday, I actually thought about this a long time ago, probably back in the summer of last year. And I don't remember why, but I wanted to get your thoughts on famous, iconic movie roles. And so what I was thinking at the time was, like Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance from The Shining, or Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday from Tombstone.
Oh, that was a great one.
Yeah,
In fact,
just so
it's hands down his best role, by the way, I think.
Doc Holliday, Val Kilmer's his best role.
Yeah. I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah. I can't think of anything. I mean, he was great as Jim Morrison.
He was.
He was great as, I think he was better than the movie itself. That makes sense.
Yeah, I do. I agree
George
with that.
fan.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Now, you're probably familiar with his, when he was Elvis in, was it True Romance?
Yeah, that wasn't a very memorable role for me, but I would say my two favorite Val Kilmer roles. He was good in Top Gun as Iceman, but my two favorite Val Kilmer roles were Doc Holliday from Tombstone, which was hands down his best performance ever. He made the movie.
No doubt.
And then the other one was, I don't remember his character's name, but it was a movie called True Genius or something like that.
Yes. Yep.
It was set in college, and I don't know. There was a bunch of shenanigans, and he was really smart. And I believe I think there was popcorn involved. I don't know. I wasn't paying too much attention, and I did a lot of drugs back then. Actually, that was in junior high or high school when I did no drugs back then, but I still don't do them. So stay away from drugs, kids. You know what? Do drugs, because either way you'll end up like me. Oh, right. Actually, if you do drugs, you might not end up like me.
When you said that, it reminded me of something else, and now I can't find it. There was another movie that Val Kilmer was in. It was one of those movies, kind of like Airplane, kind of like Naked Gun.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Where he was
a heartthrob type of guy.
Yeah, but still somehow involved in the war.
Yeah. It was, gosh, I wish we had a way we could look that up somehow.
And I'm on, he was on Psych?
Yeah. I forgot, there's something else he's in that I totally forgot about. Oops. And I just forgot again.
How far back do we need to go? Is that 80s? Okay, there's Top Gun. All right. Top Secret. That's it. There it is. Top
Yes,
Secret.
it was
He
Top
was
Secret.
Nick Rivers, a sort of an Elvis type
Yes,
character.
yeah, he was
He's
good
up.
at that. Oh, and who could? How could we forget? He was Batman
He was Batman.
in,
No,
in Batman Forever.
so just kind of looking through his IMDb history here between The Doors, Tombstone. Not really that much.
Yeah,
Just not that much. It was, but Tombstone, he was so great that it just sort of made him seem really cool.
yeah, and I still go. I watched Tombstone again. It's I don't know, maybe this past summer, and that movie, it just holds up. Talk about movies that hold up. You know, a lot of movies that you shot in the '80s, just even in the '90s, just don't really hold up. They're dated. But that's one thing about a western, a western.
Waster.
Yeah, that if you know a western, pretty much is going to hold up unless it's just a hokey one they did. But like Tombstone holds up, and it was so well written. There was no, I didn't feel like there's any corniness to it. There's very
Well, right.
okay.
I mean, here's a suggestion for you.
All right.
Don't ever go into IMDb and read the goofs from Tombstone.
Oh, really?
In fact, maybe just don't ever do that anywhere because it will ruin a movie for you.
Mm. Yes, that's true. That's true. Speaking of,
That's the kind of value we bring here on Beer Thursday is just don't even ever read that for any movie.
yeah, I'm not reading it right now, and so well, crap. Oh, never mind. So anyway, all right. So iconic movie roles.
Yeah, so those are the
Well,
ones that came to mind. You'd have Jack Nicholson as from The Shining and Jack Nicholson as the Joker from Batman.
absolutely.
So now that you've had no time to think about it,
I would also have to, I would also have to stick. Well, here's one. Here's interesting. Same role, different actors. Sean Connery as James Bond. Roger Moore as James Bond. I think those are two iconic roles. And now, and I would venture to say, and a lot of my fan might shoot me for this, but I would venture to say that Daniel
wait,
Craig.
are you talking about Brian again?
Yeah. No, Brian might agree. I don't know. I
Okay,
don't
okay.
discuss this. We have discussed the Bond songs. I think he might even have a playlist. I'm not sure, but listen to all the Bond songs. They all, I think they're all almost, I think they're all in the same key. It's kind of funny. Anywho, I digress.
I like digestion,
Yeah.
but sorry.
But I kind of think Daniel Craig is if not the best Bond, I would say he's definitely up there with Sean Connery. But
I
again,
am a
iconic role. I think there's an argument that could say that he's pretty iconic in that as well.
Sean Connery or Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig. I mean, I think it's too early to say, but certainly Sean Connery and maybe some people might not agree. I don't know, but I think Roger Moore as well. He played a different personality to his James Bond, but
Yeah, I still think Sean Connery when I think James Bond, but
yeah. Oh, and here's one. Here's one. When you think of Superman, who do you think of?
Christopher Reeve. Although I did like Brandon Ruth, right?
Yeah, Brandon Ruth and
But I still think Christopher Reeve. We watched that the other night.
oh, did you?
Yeah.
I think I can't think of any when I think about Superman. I mean, everybody in my opinion pales in comparison to him. Reeve was Superman, And but I do agree, Brandon Routh was great. The thing is, though, I think he was underutilized in that movie. I don't think it was. Here's why I say this. As you know, I'm a big fan of the DC TV shows, and this
Mhm.
season they did a crossover of the all the different superhero shows, and this one was Crisis on Infinite Earths, and
Arthas?
yeah, and in this particular episode, there since it's Infinite Earths, there's different versions of the same character. So Brandon Routh got to play Clark Kent slash Superman again from the
Nice.
from the same era as the movie that he was in. But there was a difference. There was more of, he seemed very comfortable in the character, and he also there was a little bit more of a, almost maybe a little bit more of a sense of humor to it. I don't know, maybe he put his own personality into it, but watching him as Superman and Clark Kent on those crossover episodes of DC just made me think, I really wish he would have had another shot at a Superman movie, because I thought he was really, really good. And I like Henry Cavill too. I think he's great. But back to my original point, I mean, you think of Superman, there's only one person you think of. Me.
Christopher Reeves. I
Yes.
mean, Jay.
Yeah. So
My man.
who else who do you have iconic? What do you think?
Well, I already gave my 3. How many do you want?
Oh, you have 3. Are we oh, I didn't know we were limited to a certain number.
No, we're not. I was just no. We can go as 5, 10, whatever we got, whatever we
right.
need, whatever it takes.
Okay, so certainly Superman, Christopher Reeve. Like you said, Jack Nicholson, The Shining, Jack Nicholson, The Joker. I'm trying to think. Man, you're really putting me on the spot here.
Well, probably not iconic, but one that I still love to this day was Christian Slater in, shoot, I can't think of his name now in the movie, the character, but from Heathers. I mean, it was
Yes.
pretty much Jack
Nicholson.
Nicholson, but
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
that
he
was
good.
that was a very, for me anyway, very memorable role.
How about Chevy Chase, Clark Griswold?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
What else?
I don't know. And see, I think TV's a little different, maybe, because at first I'm thinking maybe we could go to TV, like Kramer or what was it? I can't think of the actor's name as Kramer, but that's different because
Mike
after,
Richards.
because after a few years, that role really gets kind of hammered in and ingrained. So maybe more of sticking with someone that only has like 2 or 3 hours to make an impression.
I can think of 2. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because if we get into TV, I can go down a whole rabbit hole there. I mean, 2 that pop off just off the top of my head. Carol O'Connor as Archie Bunker.
Yes.
And my personal friend, very close to this man. We were very, very close. Henry Winkler. I say we're very close.
That's right. The Fonz, yeah.
I saw him at one of those shows. I got a hug from the Fonz. He told me my wife was very beautiful. Should I have been jealous? Should I have been worried about that? Well, he is the Fonz.
Only if he had asked one of you to step into his office.
That's true. But on a side note there, speaking, I'm joking about it, but I did get to meet him. And on a side note there, I will say Henry Winkler was hands down one of the nicest people I've ever met. And that includes you.
I've often been told that I'm almost as nice as Henry Winkler. Wink. I can't even say his name. So was he on if not every episode, every season of Happy Days?
Yes. Yeah, he was on every, yeah. And at one point, they were going to change the name of the show to Fonzie's Happy Days.
Really?
Yeah, and Ron Howard kind of had a little bit of an issue of that with that. Not against Henry Winkler, but just the fact that they wanted to do
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't have been fair to Potsy.
no. Or Ralph Mal
So
for that.
11 seasons of Happy Days.
Yeah.
All the way.
God.
I don't think I've realized it started in 74. It went all the way through 1984.
Yeah. It was on the air for a long time. You know, here's another one. Here's another one.
So
Maybe,
I know
maybe a topic for another episode. What are these, rounds or episodes?
the Repa sounds.
Repisounds is
The rounds, Jay.
movies that movies that should never be remade because you can't beat it. You can't. You can't. I could think of a few
that should not have been remade, or that should not.
Movies that should never ever be remade because
I'm gonna make a note of that, and we will definitely cover that.
Because I can definitely go off into another rabbit's hole. Rabbit's hole?
Beer Thursday fans, I want you to know that this is live. I'm making notes on my laptop as we speak.
Hey, speaking of
now that I'm thinking about it, that might be a little rude.
And speaking of live, and speaking of Beer Thursday, I have to ask the question: how far in are we in?
We are 20 minutes into this bad boy.
Really? This was going to be a short episode. Well, you know what that means.
And we've only talked about television. We haven't even talked about.
You ever notice that we never really get to the point of our subject?
That's
like,
rubbish.
remember that time when we did the review of the Avengers movie? And no, the Avenger movie. See, I don't even know.
That we never actually talked about on the Deadpool 2 episode.
Yeah,
we still owe our fans, or Brian, a review of Deadpool 2.
All right, so
see, everyone out there listening to this is going, is Brian a real person, or is that just the name that they've concocted?
It's totally made up. But yeah, that's right. It was Deadpool 2. That's right. I forget. I couldn't remember what it was. Speaking of which, we're 20 minutes in, which means we're 10 minutes late for our toast.
Ooh. What you got?
I would like to propose a toast. I'm drinking the same whiskey that I was because I'm too lazy to get up to find another bottle.
Wow. I mean, from last week, you still have that same bottle?
That's
proud of you, Jay.
I forgot we're recording this a week later. Stupid me. All right. Here's a toast. You ready?
I'm ready.
Here's to sobriety.
Salud.
That was a lot better in my head.
That is so vanilla. The whiskey, not your toast.
Is it the Jim Beam vanilla that you were drinking?
Yeah, I still have the same bottle. Some might say the same glass from last week.
That's crazy.
I don't know who would say that, but some might.
I wouldn't say. All right, so iconic roles. We may have to circle back to this, but certainly like the two Jack Nicholson, the Joker, and Jack Torrance. Certainly Superman, Christopher Reeve.
And I have another actor who has at least 2 iconic roles, but I'm going to save it because I know you're going to name it. And you're going to name him and the 2 roles. So I'm going to save it for when we revisit this later.
Are you talking about Tom Cruise?
No. What you got? What you thinking about Tom Cruise?
Oh, man.
He was Vampire Lestat?
No, I'm talking about those Mission Impossible movies. That's pretty iconic, don't you think? Or ironic, don't you think? Isn't it ironic?
No, that's not what irony means, Alanis, but it's a good song.
Yeah. I thought those are pretty iconic roles. I mean, you
know what? I do not hate Tom Cruise. I enjoy watching Tom Cruise. But other than Rock of Ages, to me, he kind of plays the same role. Yeah. And to me, he kind of plays Tom Cruise in every role.
Yeah, but he's so good at being Tom Cruise.
He's very good at it. And, and I've tried it, and I couldn't pull off the role of Tom Cruise. I could not play him as well as he can.
As
So
as Arthur Fonzarelli would say, let me tell you something. That sounded more like Fred Sanford, didn't it?
yeah, I was gonna say, sounded more like Fred. Iconic role, Fred Sanford.
There we
Some
go.
of his,
That one. You can't forget about Fred Sanford. No,
you can't forget about Fred.
Tom Cruise, he was great. Did you see a movie called War of the Worlds?
Yes, I did see that.
He was great in that. He was also, there was a movie where, and now I cannot remember the name of it, but it had the fantastic Emily Blunt in it. And it was a movie in which, set in the future, aliens, he kept
Tomorrow Again or something like that.
The Edge of Tomorrow. Is that it?
Yeah, what is that?
I
I
think
know
it's
what you're talking about. Because
That
there's
was
going to be a
great.
sequel.
Yes.
Its name is equally repetitive.
Yes. That was a
Again.
great. But
I did not see that movie, which is
That was
a
a
shame
great
because I
movie.
love Emily Blunt.
I love Emily Blunt too. And you know who else loves Emily Blunt? John Krasinski, her husband.
Does he?
Yeah. I've read this. It always comes back to The Office, doesn't it?
Usually it does be coming back to the office. Which
All right. So there's so many iconic roles that I could probably think of, but I can't think of one right now.
because then I wonder how recent can we get, and does it count when there are multiple movies,
Yeah,
right? Because you kind of associate Hugh Jackman with Wolverine.
that's
But is it
true.
because he played Wolverine? I don't even know how many times he played Wolverine.
Yeah.
8, 9, 10 times.
No, that's very true. That's very true.
I guess if we're gonna include Sean Connery as Bond, we could include Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Wolverine.
That's true. If we're talking one-off movies, just an iconic role, and it's just one movie, not like a series of movies, I can date back many years. I can think Judy Garland, Dorothy.
Oh, Elizabeth Taylor as Cleopatra.
Yes. How about this? How about this? The great Jimmy Stewart as George Bailey. It's a Wonderful Life. Oh, here's another one. In fact, I just read it wasn't real. It was I guess a follow-up. Actually, though, I think she might have written it before she wrote, but it was, anywho, To Kill a Mockingbird. Gregory.
Yeah. Tequila.
Yes. Atticus Finch. It's easy for me to say.
Not currently.
And then there's John Wayne
As
as pretty much everything he's done.
yeah, but isn't it's sort of that same the Tom Cruise rule where he
Absolutely
pretty much played John Wayne in every movie? Like Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood had some great roles, but didn't he pretty much play Clint Eastwood in every movie?
That's true. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
James McAvoy. Okay, not James McAvoy, but
James McAvoy.
did you see what was it he was in where he had all the personalities? That was pretty impressive.
That was
Split?
really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
Split. And then he was also in the third movie of the M. Night.
Glass.
Yeah. And that was pretty good. That was pretty good too. Speaking of that, I got another something.
Another topic.
Iconic movie makers, directors.
Iconic movie makers.
For example, I would definitely put in the modern age, I would definitely put M. Night Shyamalan there. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. And I would also put, and this one's a lot more recent, I would also put Jordan Peele in that category of What was I talking about?
Ic- Iconic movie makers.
Yeah,
Who's Jordan Peele?
Jordan Peele. Okay, he's not iconic yet, but he's going to be. That's my prediction. You heard it here, folks. He was a member of the comedy duo Key and Peele, and then he wrote that movie and directed a movie called Get Out, and he also
see
did
that one.
one. Oh, that was great, and one called Us. And there's sort of a kind of a Twilight
Oh,
Zone
okay.
sort
Yeah,
of
that one I didn't see it, but the trailer's like really good.
yeah. He's a great filmmaker, and I think be on the lookout for that young man because he's going to do great things.
Gregory Peele? It's not what you said.
That is not what I said. Jordan Peele. And if you're listening, Jordan Peele, I would love to be in one of your movies.
Yes. Cast Jay in one of your movies. Because he's handsome.
Not really.
And he plays a mean Tom Cruise. Not the usual nice Tom Cruise that we're all used to.
Yeah.
He plays a mean Tom Cruise, which is refreshing in a mean sort of way.
It's true. It's true.
How do we get on these?
I don't know. We're really good with tangents, though.
Yes.
Okay, so
Times. So yeah, I think
I'm going to take this. I'm going to sleep on this, and I'm going to see if I can think of some more iconic movie roles. But I think that was a great subject, great topic to spring on me.
like
Well, I promise you, dear listener, that the next few episodes will be hopefully shorter than the
so
last
short.
love episodes.
It could be shorter than me.
No comment.
Thank you.
That was awkward. Okay. So thank you, folks, for tuning in to Beer Thursday.
Thank you very much.
We are your hosts. Oh, wait, that's how we introduce the show, isn't it?
You can end it that way too. It's all right. But in case they forgot, he's Jay.
And I'm Shayne. Wait a minute. He's Shayne. And come back next week for another episode of Beer Thursday theme song. We're supposed to say beer.